Planet Earth, in the year 2000XXX. You are relaxing at the console of your computerized superconductor-generated interplanetary satellite communication system. Suddenly, high-frequency radio and television transmissions blast warnings to all inhabitants to prepare for the brutal invading forces of the Balangul Empire. Battle and defeat the space soldiers of Balangul. Penetrate their base divided in Section A through Section Z. Then destroy Balangul Master Control, L-Brain. This is Section Z from Capcom, released in 1987. Pretty standard, but good little side-scroller with kind of a mazy kind of like element thing going on to it. It was originally released by Capcom as a arcade game in 1985. Home version was released in 87 for the NES and Famicom. And the original coin-op game is included in Capcom Classics Collection Volume 1 for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Set in an unspecified year during the third millennium, the player takes the role of an astronaut sent to infiltrate and destroy a space station orbiting near the Earth that is actually the secret base of an alien empire known as the Balangul. In the arcade version, we maneuver the Space Ranger throughout the enemy space station, which consists of 26 alphabetically ordered corridors known as sections, starting from Section A and ending at the titular Section Z. The game is divided into 5 stages, each consisting of 5 sections, with the final stage having 6 sections to accommodate the spare letter. The player will fight an enemy boss at the end of each stage, concluding with the final battle against L-Brain at Section Z. The game stages alternate between horizontal scrolling and upward scrolling, vertical, I guess you could say. The player will lose a life every time he gets hit by enemy fire. Additional lives can be obtained if we achieve a high enough score. The game will be over if the player loses all of their lives, although a chance to continue will be provided. Now for the console version, the gameplay was altered for the NES port, particularly in its level design and game controls. The NES version features 3 stages, each comprising 20 sections for a total of 60, which are full-fledged levels in this version, although not all sections need to be visited to complete the game. In contrast to the alphabetical sections in the arcade game, the sections in the NES version are numbered instead. The first stage begins at Section 00, which is the outer perimeter of the space station, and proceeds to enter Section 1, the actual first corridor. At the end of most sections, the player will choose to enter one of 2 transporters, each taking the player to a different section of the base. Some transporters will take the player to a previous section, while others cannot be opened until the player has fulfilled a certain condition, and will kill the player if they try to enter. The objective of each stage is to destroy the 2 power generators located at different sections of each stage in order to open the path to the final section of each stage, which are sections 19, 39, and 59, to face the boss. Instead of using one button to fire and the other one to turn around, like in the arcade version, the player now uses one button to fire in one direction and the other to fire in the opposite. So, one shoots in front, one turns around to shoot behind. The player starts with a standard issue laser rifle and can be upgraded into a flash buster, which fires medium-range bullets at 3 directions, a Mega Smasher, which fires wider V-shaped laser beams. Either weapon can be upgraded into the Mega Buster, hey, where'd that come from, Capcom, which provides both wider range shots at 3 directions and the V-shaped laser. The player can also obtain a barrier shield that will protect the player for 32 shots. The player also has a numeral indicator, which represents remaining energy, which will gradually be depleted when the player takes damage from enemy bullets or when the player loses a life by touching an enemy. However, the player can still continue at the beginning of the current section, even if they lose all their lives, as long as they still have energy. When all energy is lost, the player is sent to the start of the stage with full energy to start over. The maximum energy can be increased by destroying power generators in each stage, and the player can summon as a special transmission shell by pressing both buttons simultaneously. These include Mega Missiles, a Flash Bomb, and a Crush Ball. Picking these shells and using them will cost the player 4 energy points. Famicom version was released in the disc card format for the add-on for the FDS. In contrast to the NES counterpart, make the player complete the game in one sitting, the disc system allows you to save your progress. After the game over, the player can quit the game and resume where they left off by loading the save files. That's how save games work. The English localization of the game's manual, by the way, identifies the main character as Captain Commando, a fictional spokesman for Capcom USA who later starred in his own video game. What can I tell you about Section Z? You know, pretty fun. Good old standard classic Capcom arcadey shoot 'em up.